Okay. As a result, making improvement in one area that often require redirection of resources from another area. So this point can be important. Can you understand this point? Because if we are spending in one area, because in not-for-profit making organization, generally we don't have much enough funds available, because generally we cannot create funds at our own. We have to rely on what the government is trying to allow to us. So in case we have extra costs, something has to be cut, right? There has to be cut in some expenditure in order to support the other expenditure, right? Okay, despite increasing in funding from the government, the performance of EHAS in many areas is worse than for similar organization in neighboring countries. So try to think here, if we are comparing our performance of our hospital with a hospital in a neighboring country, do you think it's a fair comparison? I mean, you should at least think regarding whatever the points are given in the question. So probably it may be a fair competition comparison. It may not be a fair comparison depending upon what the situation of that country is, what is demographics there. Yeah, I mean this our country is having aging population, so probability of diseases and everything is quite high compared with maybe other country where younger population is there. So these type of issues may should be looked at whenever we are comparing our performance with anyone which is not the part of our country, right? All right. Performance management. Performance management in not-for-profit making organization. The EHAS board is comprised of a number of directors, some of whom have backgrounds in commercial organization, right? As well as some of who are senior doctors and patient representatives. The CEO recently joined EHAS after long career in the banking industry, right? So we can have an idea, a basic idea that what problems can be there, because the CEO is coming from a profit-making organization, typically from a banking industry. So it can be a problem to understand what are the dynamics of not-for-profit making organization. The CEO's first act in her the CEO's first act in her new role was to refuse to authorize the proposed provision of S-Lane's first air ambulance for use in ambulance service in a large rural region of the country. So you are supposed to reject this. You are not supposed to accept this. This is first rule. A summary of proposal and the C, and sorry, a summary of proposal and of the CEO's decision is shown on an internal email in appendix number 1. So we have to move to appendix number 1. But let's finish this part. Due to the background of the board member, you as a performance management expert have been asked to help. The board would like you using air ambulance proposal, where appropriate, to support your advice, to advise it on the following problems of performance management and measurement in not-for-profit making organization, such as this hospital, multiple objectives, financial constraints, measurement difficulties, and political and legal factors. So just try to pause here and try to think what examiner is asking you to do, right? The board would like you using the air ambulance proposal, using the air ambulance proposal where appropriate to support your advice. Where appropriate means you are not supposed to consider air ambulance in all cases, but where relevant, you have to use this example of air ambulance to support your advice, to advise it on the following problems, that what are these problems with respect to not-for-profit making organizations, right? So if you don't have any idea about these 4 issues, that can be a problem for you. So let's move to appendix number 1 and let's see what we can have there. But before that, let's try to copy and paste it from here. in case we this. Okay, so this is a proposal from the CEO. Oh, sorry, this is an email from CEO to the company's board, right? This is from CEO to the board, right, regarding the air ambulance proposal. Summary of the air ambulance proposal. It is proposed to provide a helicopter air ambulance to reach remote areas of Estland more quickly than existing ambulance vehicles. So this was initially the idea, right? This was initially the idea. And it is estimated that this will improve performance of our ambulance services, sorry, and save lives each year by getting sick and injured patient to hospitals more quickly. That makes sense. This will also reduce patient suffering and distress while waiting for an ambulance, especially for those who live in remote areas or where there are very few roads. Right? The capital cost to purchase and equip the helicopter will be met by a mix of public donations and additional government funding allocated specifically for the provision of air ambulances. Neither the public donations nor the additional government funding are available for use elsewhere in EHAS if the proposal is not taken up. Right. EHAS will be responsible for staffing and running costs of the helicopter. So capital costs, they are supposed to get capital costs from the government and the taxpayers probably. But as far as operational cost is concerned, that is something which they have to give. Now, what is CEO's decision? This was a proposal and this is the decision. First one was the proposal and the second one is the decision. I am unable to approve the decision to provide an ambulance despite of the proposal's apparent merits. It would mean that the company, the hospital overall cost of providing ambulance service would increase from 499 per journey to 502 per journey, and so missing out performance target of $500, right? EHAS are commitments to ambulance users. These are some commitment to ambulance users are also given here, right? To help save lives and reduce patient suffering and distress, to provide ambulance within an hour of calling, carry patients safely, comfortably with dignity, and stick to financial performance commitment, right? Now, how many marks are required for this part? It's 13 marks, right? So before starting this question, before even thinking about what we are supposed to do in this question, what you all have to do is try to put four headings. I'm sure you guys know this, but still, let me try to remind you, recall you that we start generally from date, subject, and introduction. And then we start with the headings of this question. I hope I have copied. Yeah. So what are the headings? Headings are performance management, value for money, and league table. So we just need to, oops, sorry. Yeah, it was here. So just need to copy and paste it here, right? And I'm not deleting the marks because marks will give us a fair idea about what to write and how to write. Okay. So this is basically what our report mainly looks like. To the board of CEO, sorry, to the board of EHAS, from an accountant, date and subject is a report on performance measurement of EHAS, performance management of EHAS, right? So now let's move to appendix number 1, right? Uh, these are 4 things which are generally the problem of not-for-profit making organizations, right? I'm not sure if you guys are aware of these problems or not. If you guys remember these problems or not. But even if you guys don't have any clue about this these four issues, we can still guess, we can still have an idea, we can still try. Okay. So there are approximately 13 marks are available. So 13 marks means 4 marks are, you can say 4 marks uh, per part, right? And 13 marks or how much? Yeah, 13 marks. So there are four perspectives of 4, 4, 4, 4. That no. 4, 4, 4 is 12. Mm, what I'm doing? Requirement is of 13 marks, right? So 13 marks and we have four objectives. So 12 divided by 4 is 3 marks. So technically it's around 3 to 4 marks, right? It can be 3 to maximum 4 marks, right? A rough idea. Okay. So that's basically how much you have to write. So technically we have to cover at least 3 to 4 points. We have to write in order to cover 3 to 4 points in each section, right? In each heading. So let's start from this point of multiple objectives, right? Let's suppose you have no clue about what is the problem of multiple objectives, right? What is the objective we know? Objectives are, I mean, if you consider a profit-making organization, objective can be to maximize profitability, to improve quality, or maybe to become the number one company or to maximize shareholder value. These are generally the objectives of company in terms whenever we are considering not a profit-making organization. Can we see objectives in this whole email from where we can identify the objectives of this company? Is that data available? See, multiple objectives means that there are multiple stakeholder, can be multiple stakeholder, or there can be multiple areas where company would like to contribute. Like in this case, EHAS is having these four commitments with ambulance users, right? And there are approximately four commitments which they have. Do you see that all commitments are moving in the same direction? I mean, uh, these four issues, these four commitments, and whatever is written in this question. Can you suggest what we can write in multiple objectives part? Just an idea. I just want to have an idea. Guys. What is the problem here? If we see the multiple objective part, what is the problem here? Can someone volunteer, please? Okay. See, the major issue is that company is having three objectives which are supposed to improve the quality of ambulance services, right? To help and save life to reduce the patient suffering, provide an ambulance within an hour, and carry patient safely. So all these three are, if the company accept this ambulance proposal, then all these three, it will help to have these commitments fulfilled, right? But then there is another commitment that you have to stick to the financial performance, right? So if you go with the ambulance service, you will be having this problem of breaching the financial or unable to meet the financial target, right? So that's basically the dilemma. That's basically the issue. And what the company is doing in this situation is that they are trying to prioritize, or they are trying to give preference to the financial objective over the others, right? Because they are saying that 499 per journey is the cost, 502 is the actual cost, which is $500 over. So if you just try to check how much percentage it will be, 2 over 500 times 100, it's around 0.4% of the total cost. 0.4% cost per journey will increase. That's not a significant increase. That's just a minor increase in the cost, right? So this is actually, you have to explain this problem with respect to this company, right? So what we can identify first, if you want to cover the marks, so first of all, since the CEO is new, so you can write one line that what is a multiple objective problem is, this maximum one line, right? One line to identify what the issue is, right? And then we can connect it with scenario with EHAS, that there are four objectives. Three are in favor of air ambulance, and one is against air ambulance, right? And what the company is doing, company is prioritizing, or company is preferring uh, financial over the other, over non-financial. Non-financial, or you can say that uh, uh, the other objectives, compromising this. So this is generally the problem with not-for-profit making organization. So what you have to do in order to deal with that, you have to prioritize that what is more important. Can we compromise on cost? And because our objective is to provide air ambulance to, facilities to the public, because we are a government organization. So this is the prime responsibility. So are we supposed to do that? Or shall we try to, in order to make financial targets, in order to meet the financial targets, we are supposed to compromise on our basic objective of the organization. So that's basically what you have to discuss in this part. So this is just a discussion. So you have to explain this problem with respect to this EHAS and air ambulance where possible, right? Now, what is the problem of financial constraint here? Can we explain financial constraint part? Because these are those questions which apparently seems quite easy because everything is given in the question, right? But still, it's difficult to write what you will write in financial constraint. We know what is constraint. Constraint is something which is not freely available. Financial constraint means some amount of money which is not freely available, right? I mean, we can start from the issue. What is the issue? So at least we can get 1 mark because this is a new CEO, so he may need to understand what is the issue, right? Then what? I'm giving you 2 minutes to think, and then we will discuss that how we can complete this part. All right, what you will write in financial constraint? Any idea? Yes. Target is 500, but the air ambulance is max of 502 per journey. Yes. Okay. And actually 502 is related to the performance target. I mean, it's like, for example, we have to manufacture a product within $100. We cannot, we cannot spend more than $100 per unit, right? And then there is a budget. Budget is of, we have 2 million budget, and we are supposed to, we have this autonomy to use 2 million budget anywhere in the company. So what we know is that we cannot have more. So we have, if we are using maximum budget at one place, we cannot use it in any other place. That's basically what the constraint means. Yes. So basically what the issue in this case, let's suppose what is financial constraint, we identify that what is the financial constraint. Financial constraint means that since not-for-profit making organization has generally has limited amount of funds available, it has to um, spend that funds or use that funds wisely, because failure or excessive use of funds in one place may have issues in some other place. In general, brief description of what the issue is, right? Now, um, can we connect it with in the situation? See, there are two major costs involved with in the air ambulance services, right? One is the purchase cost. Let me try to highlight if I can. One is the purchase cost. Right? Let me try to choose a different color this time. Maybe this one. One is the purchase cost and purchasing and equipping cost of the helicopter. Right. This is the first cost, which is the capital cost. And the second cost, which is with EHAS will be responsible for staffing and running cost of the helicopter, right? These two costs are actually involved. And buy if you collect money from, if you collect donations from public, to have air ambulance, you cannot use it elsewhere. That's also a point, right? So what we can write here, in this section, because we understood this issue, right? What can we write here to explain this issue with respect to, yeah, in context of EHAS ambulance services? The idea is quite simple. There was something written up somewhere that the company is having limited funds available. Yeah. The potential increase in annual cost to EHAS of providing wider range services, particularly for hospital, would greatly exceed the increase in funding available, right? As a result, making improvement in one area require redirection of resources from another area. Mm, yeah, this part is available here. So the company is still having excessive cost, right, over excessive cost over the revenue or the amount of money which they are getting. So as far as purchase cost is concerned, that will not be a burden for EHAS. However, the operating cost can be an issue for EHAS. Why? Operating cost, it can be a problem because uh if they redirect their funds towards sorry towards air ambulance, they might they have to compromise on other services. Right. So you have to explain this point, that how you can connect this point with this, how you can explain the problem of financial constraint with respect to this hospital, right? I'm rereading this requirement part. You are required, the board would like you using the to advise it on following for performance measurement and management in not-for-profit making organization. That how these problems are present in not-for-profit making organization, and you have to explain it with respect to this business, this question. So if you are not, if you are generally writing it, obviously you will not get marks. That is something which we have seen in past, right? Okay, so this is basically, these are 3 points. The first one is the issue. The second one is purchase cost. The second one is, or the third one is operating cost. So at the end, if you want to get one more mark, in that case, you have to write that the company need to set the priority of spending of money, of fund usage uh, according to the benefits received. Or if you want to add one point here, you can bring that old age people issue here, that the people are old age, right? And the company wants to have this in the rural area where roads are quite few. So obviously, the company should not look at, I mean, company should look at the bigger picture, that they have the responsibility of providing services. So you can have one mark from either those last 2 points, right? And then measurement difficulties. Measurement difficulties means that the company is unable to measure the outcomes, or measure the outcomes properly, right? So can we explain the problem of performance measurement difficulties, the issue of performance measurement difficulty from this email or from this part of the question? Can we explain that? First, we will start with what is the issue, because the CEO is new. How can we explain that it's difficult to measure something, or it's difficult to measure the output with respect to this scenario? Yes. Can I have at least 1 or 2 points from all of you? Like what we can write here, how we can explain this issue? Because we know performance measurement difficult. What do we mean by performance measurement difficulty? That something is quite difficult to measure, right? Like perception, you cannot measure it. It's difficult to measure the perception part, right? That's something. Okay. See, consider the commitments, right? Because these are something where the company wanted to do, right? Out of these four, can we identify something which is difficult to measure? Which objectives can be difficult to measure? Objective number one, probably, and objective number three, because two can be measured easily, because air ambulance, which is reaching within 1 hour, you can measure that. Financial commitments, you can measure that. But the first and third objective are quite difficult to measure, right? So so first we explain what is the issue, and the second one is the sorry second sorry first and third objective or commitments are difficult to measure. And obviously, you have to write the reason why there is a difficulty to measure, right? Because how can you measure that the ambulance has carried the patient with a dignity? You have to ask with the patient, and different patients have different perception about dignity, or different perception about comfort, or different perception about suffering, right? Maybe I find a journey comfortable, maybe other person cannot. He or she thinks that the journey was not too good because of some reasons, right? So you have to explain the situation with this part, right? Is there any other issue which can be of difficulty, which can be difficult? Sorry. Um, let's move to this part. Okay. Um, I think that was okay. There was a point in this question which says that the hospital is going to propose provision of S-Link's first air ambulance for use in the ambulance service in a large rural region of the country, right? This is the first time we are having this air ambulance. Do you think that we can connect it with measurement difficulty? The outcomes which we are expecting from air ambulance can be difficult to measure. Why? Because this is the first air ambulance. So we really don't know how much people will appreciate that. Will people will be willing to do that? What will be the actual cost? Those things are quite difficult to identify, right? And then political and legal factors, right? So first of all, you have to start with what the issue is. And then you have to explain that is there any political or legal factor here? So apparently there is no political and legal factor here, but obviously we cannot keep it blank. So political pressure generally means that we try to sometimes we try to politicize the activities of an organization just to just to improve um, our image in the eyes of public, right? Or maybe there is some legal issues in the economy, which is, I mean, if we are having air ambulance, or if we are having any hospital, then there can be some legal issues. So it's not given here, right? So we can generally write what can be the legal issues which can be associated to a hospital. So maybe it is with respect to admitting in the hospital, or maybe something related to treatment, or there can be some any other legality, right? So this part will be general because no information is given in the question, right? And you have to specify this, that these informations are not available in the HAS, so we are unable to comment on it. So that's basically how we can get maximum out of it, right? So don't worry, don't be in panic if you don't know anything, right? Just try to remain calm, make the marks distribution, try to think what you can write it, how you can write it, what you can write there, right? And ultimately you can have at least 70-80% if you don't know anything about a question, right? So let's see what we can write it here. First of all, let's go to the marking scheme. Marking scheme says that multiple objectives up to 2 marks, financial constraint up to 4 marks, measurement difficulties up to 4 marks, political and legal factors up to 3 marks. Political and legal factors 3 marks, probably because there is nothing about such thing is given in the question. So that's why this is keeping it to 3 marks. In this question, it's not given that 1 mark for explanation, 1 mark up to that point. So that is not given here. But since the CEO is new, you have to explain the issue in one line, right? So how we can write this answer? We can write this answer like this. Like first what we did, first we identified the issue, right? Identified the issue. It should be more descriptive. I just wrote it in a hurry. And then we identified from appendix 1, we identified the issue, and then we proposed that what can be done here, right? So if you see the marking scheme, where scheme, I think I made it somewhere. I think by mistake, I think I deleted it. I just deleted one something. So by mistake, I think I deleted it. But um, yeah, I think I deleted it. I cannot undo that because after that we did so many things, so it's not possible. So again, if you see the suggested answer, it will be probably 1 mark for explanation, a better way of explanation probably, 1 mark for the connection, 1 or 2 marks to connect it with the scenario, and 1 or 2 marks probably to let them to tell them that you have to prioritize whenever you are supposed to do that. In this question, first first line is related to the problem identification. Then we have connected with EHAS, and then we highlighted that what are the issues here, right? So in all 4 requirements, we did this, right? We started with the basic definition, we connected it, and we identified any other issue which is available here. Okay. Any questions till now? Okay. So this is the first part, right? The second part is value for money, right? That is for 14 marks. And value for money is here. Right? Now, so this is basically the second part. The board of EHAS, the board of EHAS is formulating a new strategy, right? Why I have highlighted it with red marks, I will tell you later. The board of EHAS is formulating new strategy to redirect resources from poorly performing hospitals to those which are performing well in order to improve EHAS overall performance. The board is particularly keen to improve survival rates in patients who suffer a type of serious medical emergency known as locally by doctors as T3 serious medical emergency or just T3. Right? So what the management is trying to do, management is trying to change the strategy. Now here comes the concept of skepticism. Why the management is trying to change the strategy? Because if you are trying to redirect resources from one hospital to the another hospital, why you are thinking that? Is that a good idea? Is that having some issue? That's basically where your skepticism comes in, right? So, I mean, we will not write our answer according to this professional mark, but this is something which you have to understand that here the examiner has kept the professional mark because there is a doubt that why the company wants to change the strategy, right? Okay, and what is the strategy change? Strategy change is to divert the resources. The board is particularly keen to improve survival rates in patients who suffer a type of serious medical emergency known as type 3 serious medical emergency or just T3. T3 are a common cause of death in S-line and there is a significant political and public pressure to improve survival rates, right? And what is survival rate? Survival rate is this one. EHAS has identified the survival rate as a proportion of patients who are still alive after 30 days after suffering from T3. T3 is some sort of medical emergency or something like that. So if the patient survive after 30 days, he is supposed to be that's the survival rate. To match the international standard, there are two other significant factors in addition to the treatment which patients receive at hospital, which affect their chance of survival after T3. The length of time it takes them to arrive at hospital, usually by ambulance following a T3, that if they have serious emergency, that how much time they are taking to bring them to the hospital, that's going to increase the risk, right? And the second one is other risk factors related to their medical history, lifestyle, and overall state of health, right? So I just want you guys to read this part again in order to have a good idea what this T3 is, because probably we will be needing this in future writing. Okay. These factors are used to identify patients who are classified as high risk and those who have much lower survival rates than T3 patients as a whole. Other patients who are not classified as high risk are classified as normal risk. The EHAS new strategy is to now EHAS new strategy. What is the new strategy? New strategy is given here, this part, right? The EHAS new strategy is to use three E's: economy, efficiency, and effectiveness model to assess hospitals according to their value for money, and then consider redirecting resources according to this assessment, right? The board has asked you for the value of money assessment. So first of all, you have to perform value for money assessment, economy, efficiency, and effectiveness of the hospitals A, B, and C using the performance data and additional background information as supplied in Appendix 2. In conclusion to your assessment, you are required to advise the board on the appropriateness of its strategy to redirect resource from the worst performing hospital. So let me try to copy this and copy and paste it there so that we can understand what we have to write. Okay, I'm just giving you 2 minutes to read this whole appendix 2, and then we will discuss further. Just take 2 minutes to understand the statement. And try to understand, try to identify what can be economy, efficiency, and effectiveness in this case. Okay. So how you will identify economy? I just want to have just an idea and I will show you the calculation then, because we are not going to calculate it today. Economy can be calculated by, economy is the cost, right? So there's just one cost available and that cost is of doctors, right? So salary per doctor, yes. Salary per doctor is the first indicator, right? And that is for economy. Efficiency is the resource utilization. So what resource do we have? We just have doctors available, right? So doctors per patients or patients per doctor. Number of doctors is not a good indicator because number of doctor is an absolute thing, right? Uh, I think it should be patients per doctor because patients are 10,000 and doctors are just 50. So that means 10,000 over 50, that will give you how many patients one doctor is treating in hospital A, right? Okay. And the next one is effectiveness. Effectiveness means how efficiently you are meeting the objective of the organization. So effectiveness can be identified by what? Patients alive. Yes, yes, yes. 4,900 patients alive after T3, right? And you have two options. The first option is to divide 4,900 with the number of patients, right? In order to get what is the cure rate or what is the uh, success rate. The second option is that 4,900 can be divided by 60% of 10,000 because T3 patients, these are T3 patients, right? And T3 patients are someone with high risk, right? So probably we can divide it with 60,000. So whatever you want to do it, you may take. And that will tell you the whole story, what the company did. Okay. So, okay. So these are the final answers which I have calculated, economy, efficiency, and effectiveness, right? This is an easier part. In my opinion, this is an easier part compared with the first one, what we did. Now, if you see this part, it's quite clear that economy is 150, 110, and 100. So economy is worst in section A, in hospital A. Patients per doctor division A or hospital A is treating least number of patients. And survival rate is 81.67%. I divided it with 6,000. You may divide it with 10,000. It's up to you. Okay. So that is telling you what? That is telling you that hospital A is performing, is least performing, right? Now, again, what students may do is that student may stop here. Because after calculation, generally students think that whatever they are supposed to do, they are done with that. No, you have to do what? Acha, there is one more thing which I would like to ask from all of you. Uh, are you going to, because let's make the marking scheme. I forgot to do that and then we'll start writing. This question is for how many marks? 14 marks, right? 14 marks and 3 E's, right? So let me write it here. 14 marks and 3 E's, right? That means approximately 3 E's. And there's one more thing which you have to. Let me try to highlight this. In conclusion, the board has asked you for a value for money assessment, including the calculation of one measure for each E's of hospital A and B and C using the performance data and additional background information supplied in Appendix 2. In conclusion of your assessment, you are required to advise the board on the appropriateness of its strategy to redirect resources from the worst performing hospital. So we have identified that hospital A is the worst performing hospital. So we have to conclude whether the resources should be directed from hospital A to hospital C, or from hospital A, right? That's basically also our task. Okay. So that means we can keep uh 2 to 3 marks for conclusion, right? A conclusion or recommendation that whether the resources should be redirected. And we are left with around 12 marks. So 12 marks means we have 3 E's. So 4 marks per E, right? Economy, efficiency, and effectiveness, right? Now, my question is, are we supposed to write the basic definition of economy, efficiency, and effectiveness? That's my question. Yes, because this is a concept which the company is introducing, right? So that means what? That means 1 mark for, out of this four, 1 mark is for the basic definition, 1 line definition, not more than that, right? And probably 1 mark for the calculation of economy, efficiency, and effectiveness, right? And then how much marks are left? 2 marks are left. So 2 marks are away, should be written for the description side, right? That if you want to write anything regarding economy, that which hospital is the most economical, which hospital is least economical, and any reason which you believe can be considered for that. Okay. So 2 marks are for the general discussion. So this is a marking scheme, right? So now we know that we have 2 marks available for the discussion. They're not supposed to write too much here. Okay. So, and the question said one more thing. The question has asked us to, from append, performance data and additional background information, right? Supplied in appendix 2. So what is additional background information? This one. So try to read these two pieces of information, these two paragraphs, and try to identify the cause why the hospital A is the worst performer and why probably B and C are performing better. All right. Can you identify the reason why hospital A is the most expensive in terms of economy? Yes, that makes sense. Because the question says that these are these highly qualified doctors, right? And new treatments, the highly qualified doctors develop new medical treatments to improve survival rates and the quality of life for T3 survivors, right? BNs, are the general hospital. So definitely it makes sense that their salary will be higher, right? So if their salary, average salary is, I think 150,000 is the figure. If we have represented it in thousand. So 150,000 compared with 110 and 100, it definitely makes sense because they are qualified, they are experienced, they are qualified, they are highly skilled, right? So that's the reason why hospital A is having the highest amount of highest salary, and that's why the reason why B and C have almost same salary set, because both are the general hospital. So there is not much difference between these two. All right, that perfectly makes sense. So this part you have to explain in the economy side, right? For the 2 marks. Then efficiency. Efficiency is the resource utilization, right? Now, why you think that the resource utilization of the hospital A is 200 and the other hospital is 240 and 290? Why that is so? Because this point will earn 2 marks for you, the remaining 2 marks. Then this is the easier part because it's related to a scenario. No, not more patients are admitted in hospital A, because if you see, this hospital is having double amount of doctors compared with B, but the patients are not double, right? So the patients per doctor is 200, which is lowest among others, right? What can be the reason? Just check the additional background information. Okay. Since they hospital A is large teaching hospital, which specializes in treating and training a specialist doctor, right? In the treatment of T3 patients, the highly qualified doctors develop new medical treatments to improve survival rates and the quality of life for T3 survivors. So probably it seems that they are busy in research work. It seems that they are busy in training providing training to the other doctors. So that's why in that time they are not treating the patients. Okay, and that's why that's the reason why their output is quite low compared with B and C, because B and C are the general hospital, which means that they provide care for patients with a wide range of emergency and non-emergency medical conditions. Both of these hospitals are located in same city, right? So it's not a good idea to compare A with B and C. However, we can compare B and C because both are having similar conditions. So C is performing better as compared with hospital B. And effective risk makes survival rate. Survival rate is approximately 81.67% in A compared with B and C. So why survival rate is lowest? Because probably because of the reason that they are having more risky patients compared with the other. So that's probably the reason why the survival rate is low. Or if the patients are coming there, they are at the higher stage of risk, because see risk, uh if I'm saying that the patient is at risk, it doesn't means that the risk level is same for all, right? Maybe one patient has just 5% chance of surviving, and the other patients may have, let's suppose, 20% chance of surviving. Let's suppose, take the example of oxygen saturation, right? So if oxygen saturation is at 60 or maybe 70, it's highly dangerous. If the oxygen saturation is, this is something which I can remember from the COVID, because that was the KPI in COVID. So if someone is 89, that's less risky, right? So the level of risk can be different, and that's why the reason why, and there are chances that more risky patients are actually going to the hospital A, because they know that they are having they are highly qualified doctors here. Okay? So that can be the reason. Okay. So that's basically the 12 marks of ease, right? Now we have to conclude. Conclusion means that the strategy was to divert resources from a poorly performing hospital to a hospital which is performing less poorly, or which is performing good, right? Do you think that this is a good idea in this case? That means we are trying to divert our funds from hospital A to maybe C or maybe B. Yes, it's not a good idea. I mean, no, it's not a good idea. But you have to write the justification for that, because hospital A is a different kind of hospital. Nature is different because the doctors are different, have a different skill set. They are in the research side, they are providing treatments, developing treatments. So if you reduce the amounts of funds available to hospital A, it's going to impact the training and treatment of new diseases, and that will impact ultimately B and C, quality of services provided by B and C also, right? So if someone says that, I mean, if we have to follow that skepticism part, that are we really concerned, is the new strategy correct? So we say that no, this strategy needs to be looked at, which hospital, from which hospital you are diverting resources. Because if we are trying to divert resources from hospital A, it's not going to be a good idea. Okay. So that's how you can conclude. So in my opinion, if you see the marking scheme, what is a marking scheme? Calculation, 1 mark per E, correct definition of all three E's, 1 mark each, commentary on E's up to 8 marks, advice on a strategy up to 3 marks. So that means 6, and 14 and 17 marks are overall available in part two. So you have option that if you don't, if you are, I mean, it depends how much you are doing, how much you are scoring, but you have 17 marks available and you can earn 14 marks out of that. So it's an easier part. So if I compare option A and option B, I am reasonably sure that students will perform extremely good in part two. Students will perform uh, less than part two in part A because A is quite subjective. I mean, that is a sort of question, that is a sort of requirement. The students have no clue what to write. Though examiner is asking a is giving you a clear indication that look, you have to discuss the problems or these 4 problems with respect to this ambulance services, right? And the last part. Shall we take a break and start the last part, or shall we directly start the last part? I'm asking from you guys. I'm not sure about it because you guys are listening. Break, please. Okay, fine. We can have a 5 minutes break because last part is quite interesting. Meanwhile, if you just have a look at what is the league table, that would be great. Or if you want to have a cup of coffee or maybe you want to drink water, go and have it. We will discuss later. So 5 minutes break and then we will continue. All right. So we are going to start with the last section of question number 1, and that is the league table part. And I believe that this is a tough one compared with all three. And I will tell you the reason why. EHAS is considering, I hope you all are back. EHAS is considering the annual publication of its hospital league table for T3 survival rates as a tool to improve the overall T3 survival rates in SLIT, right? Similar league tables are used in other countries. Okay. Data which may be used to compile league tables such as this may be found in appendix number 2. The EHAS board believes that this may identify the best and the worst performing hospitals so that the best practice can be shared and also the remedial action can be taken on poorly performing hospitals. It is also hoped that league tables will promote competition between hospitals and that this will drive an overall improvement in performance, right? The EHAS board has asked your advice on the potential problems of using league tables in this way. Now, why I have highlighted this with red mark? Because now you are going to advise the management something on practical grounds whether league table will be a good idea or not a good idea. So here comes the concept of commercial acumen. Right? Commercial acumen in the sense that if you think that this is a good idea to float or it's a practical idea to float, you are supposed to identify that. Okay. So you can have some skepticism mark also because in this case the government is trying to publish the data. So what is the logic behind it? That can also be there. Okay. Now what the problem with this question is that like in this last part we did for the value of money, that was an easier part because we can do it something like there. In this case, you are supposed to highlight the potential problem of using league tables in this way. That's it. And this is of 13 marks, I think 13 or 14 marks now. Now, 13 marks, right? So you have to perform 13 marks. You have to identify 13 marks and have no clue available in this question what to write. Now here comes the issue of technical knowledge. Book reading, memorizing the concepts, right? Somehow I think, see, the memorizing the concept is not a good idea. I mean, you are not supposed, you are quite grown up, not supposed to memorize everything. But this sort of question are difficult to manage. I hope you guys know what the league table is. League table means that if you see the football, if you are seeing the watching a World Cup, final a World Cup, a football World Cup, there is a table which shows that how many matches won, how many matches drawn or maybe lost by a team, so that the team which is having higher the score comes first, lower the score comes second, last. So that's sort of league table, where 1 mark is given for the achievement and 0 mark is given for not performing well. So that's basically how we treat it. Or maybe we can give some average score based on some weightage, right? Now you have to identify the problems of league table. And if this is of 14 marks, 13 marks, I think. If this is of 13 marks, that means 1 mark can be allocated to, because we are going to introduce league table, 1 mark can be for the definition of league table, right? That means we are left with 12 marks. And for 12 marks, at least we have to write 4 to 5 points. 4 to 5 points in the sense headings. That's basically what I'm trying to communicate. I'm giving you 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes to think of any issue that you can recall or any issue which you thing that lead table will bring in the performance measurement, just try to write those points and then we will discuss it. Don't worry if you don't remember anything, it's not a big deal. We'll discuss it. Two minutes to write what's coming to your mind when you are seeing the problems of league table. Yes. Okay. Appendix 2. At least you should bring 3 points, 3 headings, at least. Problems, basically. Hmm. So the first thing which we can write here is that um okay. The first thing which we can write here is two things are connected. So let me write both here. The first thing is dysfunctional behavior. Dysfunctional behavior means that the company is not behaving, the organization is not taking uh, decisions in the which are in the best interest of the organization, right? Let's suppose that what are the issues here? See, okay. So what we can do here is, let's suppose that we want to improve. Here it is. Yeah, yeah, here it is. Suppose that we want to improve our performance, right? And we have a pressure to improve the performance. What we can do is that we can, because it's dependent upon the survival rates, right? So the hospital may not accept risky patients. That's quite normal in the hospital. that if a patient is quite serious and I mean, in Pakistan, this is generally the issue, that if a patient is quite serious and you want hospital to admit it, and if the chances of survival is quite low, generally there is a problem in admission, right? So if hospitals are not admitting the patients just because of the reason that the patient is at risk, and admitting that patient means that their survival rate can hit, in that case, um, this is a dysfunctional behavior, because this is not the objective of organization. Objective is to take care of patients, right? And if the patient is at risk, it's the responsibility of hospital to deal with it, right? To provide them facility. Okay, so first you may start with a basic, uh, a very brief definition of what this dysfunctional behavior in league table means, and then you can properly connect it with a scenario that what problem it can bring with respect to this hospital, right? The second thing is probably the creative reporting or deliberate distortion of the information means that I know that if my survival rates go down, in that case, my performance will not be appreciated. I mean, there will be something bad with us, maybe. So what we can do is we can try to manipulate the results, right? Or manipulate the information. Like, let's suppose that what we are doing, how we are calculating the survival rate is that how we were calculating the survival rate is after 30 days they are still alive, right? So what we can do is we can patients who are sorry, alive after 30 days compared with risky patients, 43 patients, what they are calling it. So what I can do is if I reduce this amount, if I reduce the risky patients, in that case, my survival rate will increase, right? Because if we decrease the denominator, in that case, there are high chances that survival rates can increase, right? And because of the fact that it's quite subjective, that many doctors have different opinion about the risk side of the patient. Maybe a doctor say that no, the situation is fine, under control, and someone says that no, it's not. So that can happen. Okay. What else you guys wrote? Focus on wrong measures. Okay, what we can write it like the company is focusing more on um, T3 survival. That means we are, if that is only the part of league table and other areas are not, then that means the company's complete focus will be on improving the survival rate and not focusing on the other issues like treatment of those patients who are not at risk, but still they are unwell, still they need medical attention, right? So more focus can be on T3 survival, right? These three are the indicators which we can identify by seeing what is here, right? What else we can write here? Um, as I said that look, if you won a match, let's suppose a team won a match. Let's take the example of football because football is quite famous. I'm not a football fan, but you may correct me if I'm wrong. Let's suppose a team won a game by, if you recall that Brazil and France match, a team won by 7-1, right? 7 goals by France with 1 goal or 2 goals by Brazil. That was a famous match. And there is another match where the team won by 2-1. So both teams won the match, but probably the team which made 7 goals will have same 1 point with the team which has one goal, 2-1 goal. I'm not sure if we count number of goals in case of tie. So that's why I'm saying that. Correct me if I'm wrong. So that means 1 mark means 1 mark for all, or 0 marks means 0 marks for all, irrespective of the fact that if you are just below the par level, or if you are quite low the par level, you will get 0 for both, right? So um the absolute measure, or let's write a simple heading here. Mm, can say that performance measurement in league table, right? The point system, right? And you can write this point. I'm sure, I mean, I know that this is not the proper word which we use for heading, but I'm just writing in the sense that let's suppose you have no idea, no clue about what the league table is, right? Okay, so we have identified 4 points, right? We were supposed to write 6 points at least, right? And if you explain these 4 points, you will get at least 8 to 9 marks, because 1 mark is for league table. So 9 marks out of 13 marks you got. Okay. And if you write maybe 1 or 2 more points, you can uh reach the maximum amount. Let's suppose what they are doing. They are saying that if the hospital is not performing well, so that the best practice can be shared, and also the remedial action can be taken for poorly performing hospitals. And initially, we have identified that the company was keen to, that the government was keen to divert the resources. So that is also something. So if the resources are based on resource allocation is based on performance, then that means low performance will result in low funds, ultimately reducing the performance further. Right. I just think I missed one point. That point was controllable part. So let's suppose that the question says, let's suppose the situation is that there is a region where dynamics are different, and there's a region where dynamics are favorable. I mean, there is an area where the performance is not good, but the reason is that mostly there are aged people are living there, old people are living there. So obviously there are high chances that the performance will be lower, that the death rates will be higher. And if a hospital is in a region where the performance with the age group is younger, then probably the death rate will be lower. Or if your hospital is at a rural site, there are chances that rural areas facilities are not there generally, so output can be accordingly, right? So controllable factor is extremely important. So we have written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. So 5 to 6 points are more than enough. So when we started, we were not sure if we can complete this part, because there is no clue about what the league table is, right? Nothing about league table is given in the question. We have to, if you don't remember, if you don't have any clue about league table, the probability that you will perform good in this part of the question is quite low. So there are 3 types of requirements in this question. The first requirement was quite doable, but was difficult. But yes, we can do it. The second requirement was very easy, and I can see it from your comments, from your responses. Last requirement depends on how much you can recall from your syllabus, or how much you can, think about the league table while you are in the examination. So let's suppose that you don't know anything about league table, and don't think right now. Just leave the topic, go to other questions, do other questions, and if you get time, then come back. Because if you don't have anything on league table, and you are thinking on that and wasting your time, and you still get no clue about it, that means you wasted your time. Right? I know it's a very common sense basic tip, but yet it's important to recall few things. Okay. Now, if you come to the marking scheme says that I have identified one. This 1 mark per point doesn't means 1 mark per heading. It means one relevant point, right? So 1 point, whatever you are writing, if you are writing 2 points within a heading, you will get 2 marks for that, right? Now, communication, report format, structure, style, analysis, and evaluation. Generally, communication marks are easier in part A because we know how to write the answer. Okay, analysis and evaluation, this comes with doing the question right. Skepticism and commercial acumen, conclusion on strategy of the board. These two things I have already highlighted. So these are the professional marks. Now, I just wanted to show professional marks of two other questions also. There is some change in assumption. I think I need to figure out what the question, where is the question, and we have to read the question. But let's read this skepticism part. Effective discussion is supplied on the assumption in the divisional performance evaluation. There's something has been changed in divisional performance, and you are supposed to discuss why that has been changed, the assumption or something like that. And commercial acumen, demonstration of link between current approach of budgeting and Hopwood style, right? So this has something to do with the practical implication. So if you are doing anything with respect to questioning the assumption or change of method, or highlighting the assumption behind certain model, in that case you are going for a skepticism part. And if you are doing anything which is to recommend something, or to connect something, or advise something, that comes under the heading of commercial acumen. But if you read the examiner comments, examiner is continuously saying one thing, that you don't have to worry about the professional marks, because if you do the question properly, ultimately that means you will get the professional marks, because professional marks are not separate. That is part and parcel of the question, right? So definitely, if let me try to open this question. So that means what? That means if we are criticizing, if we are highlighting, if we are saying that no, the new strategy is not good because of certain issues, that we cannot divert the resources, that means ultimately we are hitting the target, because we are actually nullifying the assumption that we're not supposed to divert the resources, right? Similarly, whether the what are the problems with the league table, if you are highlighting this, that means you will ultimately get marks, right? Subject to the condition that you have identified the true potential problems. If you have identified some potential problem which is not relevant to this hospital or this type of business, in that case, it will be irrelevant for you and you will not get marks, professional marks. Okay, so that's the end of today's session. Is there any comment from, do you would like to highlight anything or discuss anything, or any feedback, comment? The main
Good
idea behind,
afternoon.
good afternoon.
Yes, I miss the explanation on the controllability. Is it that the objectives that you are going to measure, if it is
No,
beyond?
Like, controllability means that
to
if we are,
control.
yeah, if we are saying that there are three hospitals which are whose performance we are comparing, and we are saying that the performance of hospital A is not good compared with hospital B, then there can be some other factors which are hitting the problems. Let's suppose, if, as I said, that the age of uh, the city in which hospital A is operating is quite high. I mean, they are mostly aged people, because the younger people switch to another city for job purposes, right? So mostly parents are living there. Mostly that's the age group. The average age is quite high. So in that case, there are high chances that whatever patients are coming to are admitting to the hospital, there are high chances of death compared to the hospital where there are younger people, right? So if you are not taking care of any measure which is uncontrollable, and you are treating all hospital with the same at the same level, in that case, it would be demotivating for the hospital, because this is something which is beyond their control, right? Or for example, there is a region where the availability of clean water is a problem. People use unclean water. Let's take this example. So in that case, or air pollution is quite high. So in that case, the chances of having some high or some what you will call lethal disease probably can be higher as compared with the other region where the environment is clean and they have good facilities available. So region wise, generally these things may differ. So that's basically something which I'm trying to communicate, is that if both the hospitals are having same type of environment, we can compare. If not, then you have to build some sort of indicators to deal with such issues.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So I'm to all those students who are registered, I'm still waiting for the answer script. I hope you guys at least send me one answer script for checking purposes. Best of luck to all of you. I will be uploading a mock paper soon, and I will provide you with its debriefing video so that you can check your answers. All right. And yeah, and I will be providing the recording of the recap in two parts, because at one video it will be too heavy for one video to cover everything. So where I will be uploading, I will hand over this to Sir Kashif Kamran, and he will upload it from KKDL platform. So you can watch it there. I probably he will upload it soon, right? And in case he doesn't, or in case you are unable to search, go to my video YouTube channel. You can find it there as well. Zaira needs, you just need to search it. You will get it. I have already uploaded day one and day two there. You can also get it from there. Okay. So best of luck to all of you. In case of any issue, just let me know. I'm also the member of KKDL WhatsApp group. So if you have any issues, queries, just let me know. Best of luck to your paper. Thank you for attending the session. Take care. Bye bye.